Taeyang Park stared at the glowing blue liquid in the containment tube. His hands were shaking. In his 12 years as an engineer on mining station Epsilon, he had never seen anything like this. The substance pulsed with light like a tiny star trapped in glass. "Sora, run the energy output test again," he said to his AI assistant. The computer's voice responded. "Running test. Results complete. Energy output is 950% above standard fuel cells. 0 radiation detected. 0 harmful byproducts. This is impossible, Taeyang," he laughed. It was a tired, disbelieving laugh. Impossible. Right. That's what they said about fusion power once. The discovery had been an accident. Taeyang had been processing mineral samples from a rare meteorite that crashed near the station 3 weeks ago. The rock contained elements he couldn't identify. When he mixed them with hydrogen in his lab, the reaction created this strange blue fuel. He called it Helios fuel, after the old Earth god of the sun. Taeyang knew what this meant. The whole galaxy ran on trithanium cores. They were expensive, dangerous, and running out. Wars had been fought over trithanium mines. If his Helios fuel could replace them, everything would change. He should report this to Earth Command. Follow protocol. But Taeyang had followed protocol his whole life, and where had it gotten him? Stuck on a forgotten mining station, light years from home. His genius ignored by superiors who cared more about quotas than innovation. Before he could decide what to do, the station's alarm blared. Warning. Unknown vessel approaching. Non-human signature detected. Taeyang's heart jumped. Alien ships rarely came to Epsilon. The station was too remote, too unimportant. He pulled up the external cameras and saw a massive ship descending toward the landing bay. It was beautiful and terrifying, made of silver metal that seemed to flow like water. Symbols he couldn't read glowed along its hull. Sora, what are they? Velothi Empire vessel, military class. They're requesting permission to dock. The Velothi. Taeyang had heard of them. They controlled hundreds of star systems and had technology far beyond Earth's. What were they doing here? He had no choice but to allow them to dock. Refusing a Velothi warship was suicide. 20 minutes later, Taeyang stood in the docking bay as the airlock opened. His mouth went dry when he saw her. She was tall, maybe 6.5 feet, with skin that shimmered like oil on water. It shifted between purple and silver as she moved. Her eyes were solid violet with no whites, and her hair was white and cut short. She wore a black uniform with silver armor plates. Behind her stood 4 armed soldiers. "I am Commander Yuna of the Velothi 3rd Fleet," she said. Her voice was cold and precise. "You are the station supervisor?" "Acting supervisor," Taeyang said, trying to keep his voice steady. "The real supervisor died last year. I'm just an engineer." Taeyang Park. Yuna's violet eyes studied him. "Human, this station has fuel supplies?" "Some, not much. We're a mining operation, not a refueling depot. Our ship's trithanium core is failing. We need emergency fuel to reach the nearest Velothi outpost." She paused. "We will pay in galactic credits," Taeyang calculated quickly. The station had enough standard fuel cells to help them, but it would leave Epsilon dangerously low on reserves. But refusing a Velothi commander seemed even more dangerous. "I can give you what we have," he said. "Follow me to the fuel storage." As they walked through the station's corridors, Yuna asked questions. How long had humans been mining this sector? What resources had they found? Taeyang answered carefully. He noticed she seemed frustrated, even angry, though her face remained neutral. In the storage bay, Yuna examined the fuel cells and shook her head. "These are primitive. They will barely get us to the next system." She turned to him. "Do you have nothing better?" Taeyang hesitated. The smart move was to say no. Give her the standard fuel and let her leave. But something in him, the part that was tired of being overlooked and underestimated, made him speak. "Maybe. Come with me." He led her to his private lab. Yuna's soldiers followed, weapons ready. Taeyang's hands were sweating as he opened the containment tube. The blue liquid glowed brighter in the presence of the Velothi technology. "What is that?" Yuna asked. For the first time, her voice had emotion in it. "Surprise. I call it Helios fuel. I discovered it 3 weeks ago. It produces 10 times the energy of standard fuel with no radiation." Yuna stepped closer, her eyes wide. "That's impossible." "Show me." Taeyang ran the demonstration. He poured a small amount of Helios fuel into a testing generator. The machine hummed to life, its output meters climbing higher and higher. Yuna watched the readings and her composed expression cracked. She looked shocked, even afraid. This cannot be real, she whispered. We've searched for an alternative to Trithanium for 200 years. Our best scientists have failed. And a human, alone on a mining station, has created this? Sometimes accidents lead to the greatest discoveries, Taeyang said. Yuna turned to face him fully. Do you understand what you've done? The Velothi Empire is dying. Our Trithanium supplies are almost gone. In 10 years, maybe less, our ships will stop flying. Our cities will go dark. You have just solved our extinction crisis. Taeyang felt the weight of her words. I was planning to report it to Earth Command. No. Yuna's voice was sharp. Not yet. This discovery is too valuable. Too dangerous. Other species will kill you for this knowledge. Kill your whole planet. Then what do you suggest? Yuna was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her tone was different. Almost gentle. Come with us. To Velothi Prime, we will protect you. We will give you resources, a lab, anything you need. We will make you rich beyond imagination. And in return, you give us exclusive rights to Helios fuel. You work for the Velothi Empire. Taeyang looked at the glowing blue liquid. Then at Commander Yuna, this alien woman who had just offered him everything he'd ever wanted. Recognition, resources, a chance to change the galaxy. But he also saw the calculation in her violet eyes. The Velothi needed him, yes, but need could turn into control, into imprisonment. I'll need time to think, he said. You have 1 hour, Yuna replied. My ship needs fuel now, and I will not leave without either your standard fuel cells or you and your Helios formula. Choose wisely, Taeyang Park. This decision will change your life forever. She left him alone in his lab. Taeyang sat down heavily, his mind racing. 1 hour to decide his future. 1 hour to choose between safety and opportunity, between Earth and the stars. He looked at the Helios fuel glowing softly in its tube. Maybe, he thought, this was why he'd been stuck on this forgotten station all these years. Maybe he'd been waiting for this exact moment. Maybe it was finally his turn to matter. Sora, he said quietly, start packing my research. We're leaving. The Velothi flagship was nothing like Taeyang had imagined. He had expected cold metal corridors and harsh lights, but instead he walked through halls that seemed alive. The walls glowed with soft bioluminescent light, and the air smelled like ozone and something sweet he couldn't identify. Commander Yuna had given him quarters near the science wing. The room was 3 times larger than his entire living space on Epsilon, with a window showing the stars streaming past as they traveled faster than light. Taeyang couldn't sleep. He stood at that window for hours, watching humanity's sun shrink to just another point of light. You should rest, Sora's voice said from his portable terminal. We arrive at Velothi Prime in 36 hours. I'm too nervous to rest, Taeyang admitted. What have I done, Sora? I left Earth. I left everything. You chose possibility over safety. That's what humans do best. 3 days into the journey, Commander Yuna summoned him to the ship's conference room. Taeyang entered to find her standing before a holographic display, showing the Velothi Empire's territory. Hundreds of star systems connected by trade routes, all glowing red. Red means critical fuel shortage, Yuna explained. In 6 months, most of these systems will be unable to maintain their ships or power stations. In a year, the Empire collapses. And you think Helios fuel can save it? I know it can. But first you must present it to the High Council. Convince them that a human's discovery is worth trusting. Taeyang swallowed hard. You want me to stand before your government leaders and pitch my fuel? I want you to save my people, Yuna said. Her violet eyes met his, and for a moment he saw past her military composure to something vulnerable underneath. Please. That same evening, Taeyang was working in the ship's laboratory when someone else entered. She was Velothi, shorter than Yuna, with skin that shifted between blue and green. Her eyes were bright amber, and she wore a scientist's white robe. So you're the human, she said, walking around him like he was an interesting specimen. I'm Hana, lead xeno-engineer on this ship. Taeyang Park, just an engineer. Hana laughed. Just an engineer who solved a problem that defeated our best minds for 2 centuries. Commander Yuna asked me to help you prepare for the council presentation. She paused. I've reviewed your notes on Helios fuel. Your methodology is chaotic, inefficient, and completely brilliant. Is that a compliment? Yes, Velothi think in pure logic. We follow precise methods. But you humans, you jump to conclusions, make wild guesses, and somehow land on the right answer. It's fascinating. Hana pulled up a holographic display. I've been trying to synthesize Trithanium alternatives for 15 years. I never considered combining rare Earth elements with hydrogen in the pattern you used. It seems too simple. They worked together for hours, Hana asking countless questions about human intuition and creative thinking. Taeyang found himself enjoying her company. She was brilliant but curious, willing to admit when she didn't understand something. Unlike Commander Yuna's careful distance, Hana was warm and engaged. "Can I ask you something personal?" Hana said as they took a break. "Why did you agree to come? You left your entire species behind." Taeyang thought about his answer. "Because on Earth I was nobody. Just another engineer doing his job. Here, maybe I can be someone who matters." "You already matter," Hana said softly. "What you've created will save billions of lives." She looked away. "Including mine." "What do you mean?" "Velathi are dying, not just from lack of fuel. We have a genetic degradation disease spreading through our population. Our immune systems are failing. We think it's related to generations of radiation exposure from trithanium cores." Her voice cracked slightly. "I have it. Most scientists my age do. We have maybe 10 years left." Taeyang felt a chill. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." "How could you? We hide our weakness from other species." Hana smiled sadly. "But your Helios fuel produces no radiation. If we can replace trithanium completely, maybe we stop the disease from spreading. Maybe we save the next generation." Before Taeyang could respond, the ship's alarm sounded. Commander Yuna's voice came through the speakers. "All hands, we have an unscheduled visitor. Diplomatic vessel approaching." In the docking bay, Taeyang watched as a sleek black ship attached itself to the flagship. The airlock opened, and a woman stepped through. She was humanoid, but clearly not human or Velathi. Her skin was pale purple, and her hair was long and silver. She wore a flowing dress that seemed to move on its own. Her eyes were entirely black, like pools of ink. "I am Lady Minji of the Crixan Dominion," she announced. Her voice was musical, hypnotic. "I've come to meet the human who holds the galaxy's future in his hands." Commander Yuna stepped forward. "This is a military vessel. You have no authority here." "I have diplomatic immunity in all treaty space," Minji replied smoothly. "And I merely wish to talk." Surely the great Velathi Empire doesn't fear a simple conversation. Yuna's jaw tightened, but she nodded. 1 hour. In the diplomatic chamber. "Taeyang, you're not required to attend." "I'll go," Taeyang said. He was curious about this new alien and her interest in him. The diplomatic chamber was smaller and more intimate than the conference room. Lady Minji sat gracefully on a floating chair and gestured for Taeyang to sit across from her. Commander Yuna and Hana stood nearby, watching carefully. "Taeyang Park." Minji said his name like she was tasting it. "You're even more interesting than the report suggested. Young, brilliant, and apparently unaware of your own worth." "What do you want?" Taeyang asked. "To offer you a better deal than the Velathi. The Crixan Dominion controls the largest trade networks in the galaxy. We can make you wealthy beyond imagination. We can give you entire planets to rule. All we ask is that you share your Helios fuel with us." "The fuel belongs to the Velathi," Yuna said sharply. "Does it?" "I don't see a contract." Minji smiled at Taeyang. "You're not a prisoner here, are you? You can make your own choices." Taeyang felt the tension in the room. Minji was beautiful and charming, but there was something calculated about her smile. Hana looked upset, and Yuna's hand had moved closer to her weapon. "I appreciate your offer," Taeyang said carefully. "But I've already agreed to help the Velathi. A verbal agreement, not binding." Minji leaned forward. "Think carefully, Taeyang. The Velathi will use you and then discard you. They see you as a tool. But the Crixan see you as a partner, an equal." "That's enough," Yuna said. "Your hour is up." Minji stood gracefully. "Very well. But Taeyang, know that my offer stands. When you realize the Velathi are using you, come find me." She handed him a small crystal. "This contains my contact information. Keep it safe." After she left, Yuna turned to Taiyang. Don't trust her. The Crixan specialize in manipulation and seduction. That's how they control half the galaxy's trade. I wasn't going to accept her offer, Taiyang said. Good. Yuna's expression softened slightly. Because despite what she said, you're not a tool to us. You're our hope. That night, Taiyang couldn't sleep again. He held the crystal Minji had given him, feeling its weight. 3 days ago, he was alone on a mining station. Now he had a Velothi commander calling him their hope, a scientist growing attached to him, and a Crixan diplomat offering him planets. He thought about power and what it meant. He had created something valuable, and now everyone wanted it. But what did he want? Through his window, he could see GalacticPrime growing larger in the distance, a massive planet covered in glowing cities. Somewhere down there, a council of alien leaders waited to judge him. Taiyang placed the crystal in his pocket and tried to rest. Tomorrow he would face the most important presentation of his life. Tomorrow he would learn if his Helios fuel really could change the galaxy, and deep down, he wondered which of these alien women truly saw him as a person and which saw him as a means to an end. GalacticPrime was breathtaking. From orbit, Taiyang could see cities that glowed like jewels connected by rivers of light. The high council building rose from the capital city like a crystal mountain, catching the light of 3 moons. The presentation went better than Taiyang had feared. He stood before 7 council members, each older than Commander Yuna, their skin showing deeper colors from age. He demonstrated Helios fuel, showed his calculations, and answered their questions as best he could. Remarkable, said council leader Vex, an ancient Velothi with skin that shifted between deep purple and black. If this is genuine, you've given us a future we thought lost. It's genuine, Commander Yuna said from where she stood beside Taiyang. I've tested it personally. Then we must begin immediate production, another council member said. Full resources. Complete priority. But Admiral Do-hyun, a military leader with sharp features and cold gray eyes, stood up. I disagree. This human is a security risk. He could share this technology with our enemies, with the Crixan, or worse. I won't, Taiyang said quickly. I came here to help you. So you say now. But humans are unpredictable, emotional. You might change your mind tomorrow. Do-hyun turned to the council. I propose we secure the human in protective custody, extract the full formula. Then we control the knowledge, not him. Yuna's voice was sharp. You mean imprison him, take his discovery by force. I mean protect the Empire, Do-hyun shot back. We cannot trust an alien with our survival. The council debated for hours. Taiyang sat silently, feeling like a piece of property being argued over. Finally, council leader Vex decided they would vote the next day. Until then, Taiyang would remain in his quarters under guard. As Yuna escorted him back, she was quiet. When they reached his room, she finally spoke. I'm sorry. I promised you would be safe here. It's not your fault. I should have predicted Do-hyun's response. He's always been paranoid about other species. She paused at his door. If the council decides to imprison you, I'll help you escape. I swear it. Taiyang looked at her violet eyes and saw she meant it. Why? Won't that make you a traitor? Because it's the right thing to do. Yuna reached out and touched his hand briefly. The contact was warm, electric. Because you trusted us, and we should trust you in return. She left quickly, as if the touch had scared her. Taiyang went inside, his mind spinning. He lay down and tried to sleep, but an hour later an explosion shook the building. Alarms screamed. Taiyang rushed to his window and saw smoke rising from several floors below. Energy weapons fired in the corridors outside. Someone was attacking. His door burst open. Yuna ran in, her weapon drawn. We need to move now. What's happening? Do-hyun. He's not waiting for the council vote. He sent soldiers to capture you. She grabbed his arm. Come with me. They ran through chaos. Velothi soldiers fought each other in the halls, some loyal to Yuna, others to Do-hyun. Taeyang stayed close to Yuna as she led him down service corridors and through hidden passages. They were nearly to the emergency transport bay when a group of soldiers appeared ahead. "Stop!" one shouted. "The human comes with us!" Yuna fired without hesitation. Her energy weapon dropped 2 soldiers instantly. The others returned fire. Taeyang pressed against the wall as energy bolts scorched the air around them. Yuna fought. Like a trained warrior, her movements precise and deadly. But there were too many. One shot got through her defense and hit her shoulder. Yuna cried out and stumbled. Taeyang caught her before she fell. "Go," she gasped. "Run. Not without you." More energy fire erupted, but this time from behind the enemy soldiers. Hana appeared with a group of scientists armed with experimental weapons. The soldiers scattered. "This way," Hana shouted. They carried Yuna to a medical bay hidden in the science wing. Hana sealed the door and began treating Yuna's wound while other scientists stood guard outside. "How bad?" Taeyang asked, hovering over them. "She'll survive," Hana said, working quickly. The shot cauterized the wound. "She's lucky." Yuna's eyes opened. "Lucky, right." She tried to sit up and winced. "Do-hyun?" "Still hunting you both," Hana said. "He's declared martial law, claims you're both traitors working with the Crixin." "That's insane," Taeyang said. "He needs an excuse to seize power," Yuna muttered. "This is a coup." Hana finished bandaging Yuna's shoulder and turned to Taeyang. "There's something you should know. Something I discovered while researching Helios fuel." She pulled up a holographic display. "Your fuel doesn't just power ships. It has medical applications. The energy it produces can repair damaged cells at a molecular level." Taeyang stared at the data. "You mean it could cure diseases?" "I mean it could cure the genetic degradation killing my people." Hana's voice shook with emotion. "I ran the calculations 3 times. Helios-based treatments could save us all. Taeyang, you haven't just solved our energy crisis. You've given us a cure for our extinction." The weight of her words hit him like a physical blow. Billions of lives, not just saved from power shortages, but from death itself. "Why didn't you tell the council?" he asked. "Because I wanted to be sure first. And because—" Hana looked away. "Because people like Do-hyun would use it as more reason to lock you away forever. If you're the only one who can make the cure, they'll never let you leave." The door exploded inward. Soldiers poured in, led by Admiral Do-hyun himself. His gray eyes were cold with triumph. "End of the line, human. You're coming with me." Yuna tried to stand, but her wound was too fresh. Hana stepped in front of Taeyang protectively, but she had no weapon. Taeyang felt panic rising. This was it. He was going to be imprisoned, his knowledge extracted, his freedom gone. Then the wall exploded. Lady Minji walked through the hole, surrounded by Crixin soldiers. Her black eyes found Taeyang immediately. "I believe you need assistance," Do-hyun spun toward her. "The Crixin have no authority here. We do in matters of diplomatic protection. Taeyang Park contacted us using the emergency beacon I gave him." She smiled. "He's now under Crixin protection as a refugee seeking asylum." "I didn't activate any beacon," Taeyang said, confused. "The crystal I gave you has an automatic distress feature. It activated when your life was in danger." Minji extended her hand to him. "Come with me. We'll take you somewhere safe." Do-hyun raised his weapon. "He's not going anywhere. Then you'll start a war with the Crixan Dominion," Minji said calmly. "Is one human worth that?" The standoff lasted seconds that felt like hours. Finally, Do-hyun lowered his weapon. "Take him. But know this, Lady Minji. The moment he leaves Crixan protection, he's ours." Minji gestured to Taeyang. "Come." He looked at Yuna, injured and unable to stop this. At Hana, who had just revealed his fuel could save her life. They both looked devastated. "I can't leave them," Taeyang said to Minji. "They tried to lock you in a cage," Minji said. "I'm offering you freedom. Then they come with me, Yuna and Hana, or I'm not going." Minji's eyes narrowed. "You'd risk your freedom for them?" "They risked their lives for me." After a long moment, Minji nodded. "Very well. But they become refugees too. They can never return to Velothi space without facing execution." Yuna tried to protest. "Taeyang, you can't ask us to abandon our people." "I'm not asking. I'm offering you the same choice you offered me. Safety over duty." He met her violet eyes. "Come with me." Hana stepped forward first. "I'll go. There's nothing here for me but a slow death anyway." Yuna looked torn. Her loyalty to the Empire warred with something else in her eyes. Something Taiyang was beginning to recognize. Finally, she nodded. I'll follow you, even if it makes me a traitor. They left together through Minji's escape route. Behind them, Admiral Dohyun watched with cold fury. Ahead, an uncertain future waited. Taiyang had just made 3 powerful alien women into fugitives. But as they boarded the Crixin ship and left GalacticPrime behind, he realized something important. These women had chosen him over their own interests. Yuna had risked her military career. Hana had abandoned her research. Even Minji had risked diplomatic relations to save him. Whatever game they were all playing, it had become more complicated than anyone planned. And Taiyang was beginning to understand that the real power wasn't in his Helios fuel. It was in the connections he was building. Connections that crossed species barriers and challenged everything the galaxy thought it knew about humans. The Crixin diplomatic ship was different from the Velothi flagship. Everything was soft and comfortable, designed for pleasure rather than war. But Taiyang couldn't relax. He paced his quarters while Yuna recovered in the medical bay, and Hana worked in the science lab. Lady Minji found him staring out at the stars. You're troubled. I've made you risk a lot, Taiyang said. Taking us. Why did you really do it? Minji was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice had lost its diplomatic smoothness. Because my mission was to seduce you and steal your research. That's what the Crixin Dominion sent me to do. She laughed bitterly. But somewhere between meeting you and watching you refuse to abandon those women, I realized I couldn't do it. You're too genuine, too good, so now what? Now I'm a failure. My superiors will execute me for not delivering your formula. Unless... She turned to him. Unless you give it to me willingly. Share your Helios fuel with the Crixin. Let me return with something. Taiyang thought about this. What if I shared it with everyone? Not just the Crixin or the Velothi. What if I made the formula public, free for any species to use? Minji stared at him. That's insane. You'd give up the most valuable discovery in the galaxy for free? The Velothi are dying. Hana showed me the data. Other species probably face the same problems. If I keep this secret, if I let it be controlled by one empire, millions will die while politicians argue. He met her black eyes. You said I'm too good. Maybe I should prove you right. They'll kill you for this. Every government, every corporation that profits from the old fuel systems. You'll make yourself the most wanted person in the galaxy. Then I'll need protection. From people I can trust. He paused. Can I trust you, Minji, really? She was quiet for a long time. Finally, she nodded. Yes, against all my training, all my instincts, yes. I'll help you. Even if it means I can never go home. 3 days later, they gathered in the ship's communication center. Yuna stood beside Taiyang, her shoulder still healing but her eyes determined. Hana worked the technical controls. Minji managed the diplomatic channels. Together they prepared to change everything. Are you certain? Yuna asked him one last time. Once you broadcast this, there's no taking it back. I'm certain. It's the right thing to do. Taiyang activated the recording. He stood before the camera and spoke in simple words. My name is Taeyang Park. I'm a human engineer. 3 weeks ago, I discovered a new fuel source I call Helios fuel. It's cleaner, more powerful, and safer than anything currently used in the galaxy. He held up a data crystal. I'm releasing the complete formula to everyone. Free. No patents, no restrictions, no control. Any species can make it. Use it to power your ships, your cities, your futures. Hana pressed the button. The message and formula broadcast across every communication channel in known space. Military, civilian, public, private. Within seconds, billions of beings across hundreds of worlds received it. The reaction was immediate. Minji's console lit up with incoming messages. Some were grateful. Many were furious. 3 governments declared Taiyang a terrorist. 5 corporations put bounties on his head. But hundreds of scientists and engineers started downloading the formula, beginning experiments. Earth Command is calling, Hana said, her voice tight. Taiyang accepted the call. A stern human general appeared on the screen. Taeyang Park, you've committed treason against humanity. You've given away Earth's greatest advantage and made us a target. We're revoking your citizenship and placing a warrant for your arrest. I did what I thought was right, Taeyang said quietly. Right? You've doomed us all. The general cut the connection. Yuna placed a hand on his shoulder. You knew this would happen. Knowing doesn't make it easier. I just became a man without a world. No, Minji said firmly. You became a man who chose principle over profit. That's rare in this galaxy. Over the next week, the galaxy changed. Species that had been on the brink of energy collapse started producing Helios fuel. Scientists verified that it worked exactly as Taeyang claimed. Some governments tried to restrict it, but the formula was out. It couldn't be controlled anymore, but not everyone was happy. A coalition of military powers, led by Admiral Do-hyun, declared they would hunt down Taeyang and anyone helping him. Bounty hunters started searching. Assassins were hired. We can't keep running, Yuna said during a planning meeting. We need a base, somewhere defensible. Unclaimed space, Hana suggested, pulling up a star map. There's a sector here between major territories. No government controls it. We could build a station there. With what resources? Taeyang asked. Minji smiled. Leave that to me. I still have contacts. People who believe in what you're doing. She was right. Within days, ships started arriving. Not military vessels, but civilian ones. Scientists who wanted to study Helios fuel. Engineers who wanted to improve it. Refugees from species whose governments had oppressed them. Even some humans came, defying Earth Command's orders. One of them was Hyunwoo, a human pilot with a scarred face and a quick smile. I saw your broadcast, he told Taeyang. I figured someone crazy enough to give away a fortune was someone worth following. Another was Nari, a young human engineer who brought 3 cargo ships full of equipment. Earth Command called you a traitor. I call you a hero. Let me help build your station. Together they constructed something new. They called it New Haven. It started as a few connected ships, then grew into a proper station. They installed massive Helios fuel generators that powered everything. They built labs where Hana could continue her medical research. They set up manufacturing facilities to produce fuel for anyone who needed it, free of charge. As New Haven grew, so did something else. Taeyang spent long hours with each of the women, and the bonds between them deepened. Yuna trained him in Velothi combat. During one session, they moved together through fighting forms, her body close to his. When she corrected his stance, her hands lingered on his arms. You're learning quickly, she said softly. Humans are more adaptable than we thought. Or maybe I have a good teacher. She smiled, and it transformed her usually serious face. Taeyang, I need to tell you something. Velothi law forbids relationships between species. But being here with you, I've realized some laws are meant to be broken. She kissed him then, her lips cool against his. When they parted, her violet eyes were vulnerable. I've never felt this way about anyone, Velothi or otherwise. Hana showed him the progress on the medical treatments. She was healthier now, her skin brighter, her movement stronger. The Helios treatments are working, she said excitedly. I'm getting better, Taeyang. You saved my life. She took his hands in hers. I've been thinking about how to thank you. But words aren't enough. She pulled out a small painting she'd made. It showed Taeyang as a figure of light, bringing hope to a dark galaxy. This is how I see you. The Lightbringer. That's what our old myths called the one who would save us. I never believed those stories until I met you. She kissed his cheek gently. Thank you for seeing me as more than just a scientist, for seeing all of us as people. Even Minji's walls came down. One night, she found him alone in the observation deck. I received a message from the Crixin Dominion today. They've officially declared me a traitor and ordered my execution. I'm sorry. Don't be. For the first time in my life, I'm free to choose what I want. She sat beside him. I was trained to manipulate, to seduce, to control. But you're the first person I've met who couldn't be controlled, who chose to do good even when it cost you everything. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I think I'm falling in love with you, Taeyang Park, and I have no idea what to do about it. Taeyang sat there with 3 extraordinary women who had given up everything for him. He cared about them all. Yuna's strength and honor, Hana's brilliance and kindness, Minji's complexity and transformation. But how could he choose between them? Then the sensors detected the incoming fleet. Hundreds of ships led by Admiral Do-hyun. They had found New Haven, and they were coming to destroy it. Battle stations, Yuna ordered. Everyone prepare for war. Taeyang looked at the massive fleet approaching and then at the small station they'd built. At the people who had believed in him. At the 3 women who loved him. No, he said. We're not fighting this battle alone. Hana, send a message to every species we've helped with Helios fuel. Tell them New Haven is under attack. Ask for help. You think they'll come? Hyunwoo asked. I think people remember who saved their lives. Let's find out if gratitude means anything in this galaxy. Admiral Do-Yun's fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel like a storm of metal and fury. 300 warships, weapons charged, surrounding New Haven from every angle. The station's small defense force looked pathetic in comparison. Taiyang stood in the command center watching the display. Yuna was beside him, already in combat armor. Ana monitored the station's systems. Minji tried every diplomatic channel she knew. Hyunwoo and Nari prepared the few weapons they had. "They're hailing us," Minji said. Do-Yun's face appeared on the screen. His gray eyes were cold with satisfaction. "Taeyang Park, you've caused enough chaos. Surrender now and I'll let the others live." "You're too late," Taeyang said. "The Helios formula is already public. Killing me won't change that. No, but it will send a message. That humans who disrupt galactic order will pay the price." Do-Yun leaned forward. "You have 1 hour. After that we open fire." The screen went dark. Everyone looked at Taeyang. "Well," Hyunwoo said with forced humor. "Any brilliant last-minute plans?" "Actually, yes." Taeyang turned to Hana. "How much Helios fuel do we have in storage?" "About 10,000 units. Why?" "Because I've been thinking about something. Helios fuel produces massive energy with no radiation, right? What if we used it differently? Not for power, but for defense. Could we create shields?" Hana's eyes widened. "Theoretically, yes. The energy output could generate a barrier field, but I'd need time to configure the generators." "How much time?" 40 minutes. "Maybe less. Then get started. Minji, keep trying to reach anyone who might help us. Yuna, prepare for combat just in case this doesn't work." They moved fast. Hana worked with incredible speed, her fingers flying over the controls. Taeyang helped her, applying his intuitive understanding of the fuel's properties. Together, they rewired the station's power grid, channeling everything through the Helios generators. With 20 minutes left, the sensors detected something. One ship appeared, then 5, then 20, then hundreds. "Ships arriving from multiple vectors," Nari reported, her voice rising with excitement. "I'm reading Terran signatures, Crixen, even some Velathi. They're taking defensive positions around us." Taeyang felt his throat tighten. They came. They actually came. A communication came through. It was a Terran captain. Her human face weathered but determined. "New Haven, this is Captain Lee of the merchant vessel Horizon. You gave us Helios fuel when our colony was dying. We're here to return the favor." More messages poured in. "This is the Crixen science ship Enlightenment. You saved our research station. We stand with you. Velathi medical transport piece. You cured our children. We won't abandon you now." On and on, hundreds of ships. Not military vessels, but civilian ones. Merchants, scientists, medical ships, refugee transports. Species from across the galaxy, all coming to defend the station that had helped them. Admiral Do-Hyun's voice cut through. "This changes nothing. Stand aside or be destroyed with them." One of the civilian captains responded. "You'll have to go through all of us first." The standoff lasted seconds. Then Do-Hyun gave the order. "All ships fire at will." The battle began. Do-Hyun's military ships were powerful, but the civilian fleet fought with desperate courage. More importantly, Hana finished the shield modifications. A brilliant blue barrier sprang up around New Haven, absorbing the energy weapons that struck it. "It's working," Hana shouted. "The Helios shields are holding." Taeyang kissed her cheek without thinking. "You're a genius, but the battle was brutal. Civilian ships weren't built for combat. They were dying protecting New Haven, and Taeyang felt each loss like a knife to his heart. "We need to end this," Yuna said. She was at the weapons console firing back at Do-Hyun's fleet. "Taeyang, give me an idea. What if we overload the shields? Create a pulse that disables their weapons without destroying their ships?" "That could work, but the timing has to be perfect. Too soon, and they'll recover and keep firing. Too late, and we'll lose the shield." Yuna and Hana worked together, calculating trajectories and timing. Minji coordinated with the civilian fleet, telling them to pull back at the exact right moment. Taeyang watched it all come together. These 3 remarkable women working in perfect harmony. "Now!" Yuna shouted. Hana triggered the pulse. The blue shield exploded outward in a wave of energy. It washed over Do-Hyun's fleet, shorting out their weapon systems but leaving their life support intact. The warships went dark and silent, floating helplessly. The civilian fleet cheered. Messages of celebration filled the channels. But Taeyang noticed something on the sensors. One ship, Do-Hyun's flagship, still had power. It was heading straight for New Haven, weapons charging. "He's going to ram us," Nari said. "Kamikaze attack." Yuna was already moving. Get me a combat suit and a shuttle, now. What are you doing? Taiyang demanded, ending this. Felathi law. If Do-hyun wants to kill me for treason, he has to do it in single combat. She grabbed her weapons. I'm going to board his ship and challenge him. That's suicide. Yuna cupped his face in her hands. Listen to me. I've spent my life serving the Velathi Empire, following orders, being the perfect soldier. But you taught me that some things matter more than duty. You matter more. She kissed him hard. If I don't come back, remember that I chose this. I chose you. She was gone before he could stop her. Taiyang watched on the screens as Yuna's shuttle approached the flagship. She boarded through an airlock, and the video feed showed her fighting through Do-hyun's remaining soldiers. The battle was vicious. Yuna moved like a warrior poet, every strike precise and deadly. She reached the bridge where Do-hyun waited. The admiral was a skilled fighter, larger and stronger than Yuna. They fought with energy blades, their movements too fast to follow. Do-hyun struck her across the face. Yuna stumbled but didn't fall. You've become weak, Do-hyun snarled. Corrupted by that human. No, Yuna said, wiping blood from her mouth. I've become free. She attacked with renewed fury. Her blade found its mark, cutting through Do-hyun's defenses. The admiral fell, defeated but alive. Yuna stood over him, breathing hard. Your fleet is disabled, she said into her communicator.
Surrender or I'll space your admiral. The remaining ships surrendered.
The battle was over. Yuna returned to New Haven to cheering crowds. Taiyang met her in the docking bay and held her tightly. She was bruised and exhausted but alive. You're insane, he said. I learned from the best. Over the next days, the galaxy changed. The coalition fleet withdrew, their leaders facing political fallout for attacking civilian vessels. More importantly, the battle at New Haven became legend. Songs were written about the human who united species across the stars, about the Velathi commander who defeated her own admiral for love, about the scientist who cured the incurable and the diplomat who chose principle over power. New Haven grew rapidly. It became a hub of cooperation, a place where any species could come to share knowledge and resources. Hana's medical treatment spread, saving millions from genetic diseases. The station became sovereign territory, recognized by most governments as independent. But for Taiyang, the most important moment came one quiet evening. He stood in his quarters, looking out at the station he'd helped build, when Yuna, Hana, and Minji entered together. We need to talk, Yuna said. Taeyang's heart raced. If this is about choosing between you, I can't. You all mean too much to me. That's not what we're asking, Hana said gently. Minji stepped forward. We've talked among ourselves. About Velathi bonding customs, about Crixan relationship traditions, about human concepts of love. She smiled. None of our cultures have exclusive claims on how to love. What are you saying? Yuna took his hand. I'm saying that Velathi can bond with multiple partners if all parties agree. It's rare but not forbidden. Hana took his other hand. I'm saying that love isn't a finite resource. You caring for them doesn't diminish what you feel for me. Minji placed her hand over his heart. I'm saying we've all fallen in love with the same man. And instead of fighting over you, we're choosing to share. If you'll have us. Taiyang looked at the three of them. Yuna, who had sacrificed her career and fought her own people for him. Hana, whose brilliant mind and gentle heart had helped him see the true potential of his discovery. Minji, who had transformed from manipulator to true friend, giving up everything for principle. You want to be together? All of us? If you're willing, Yuna said. We know it's unusual, complicated. But so is everything else about this situation, Hana added. Why should love be simple when nothing else is? Taeyang thought about his old life, alone on a mining station, overlooked and undervalued. Then he thought about what he'd built here. Not just a station or a fuel source, but connections. A community. A family. Yes, he said simply. Yes, I want this. I want all of you. They came together then. 4 beings from different worlds, different species, different backgrounds. Yuna kissed him with fierce passion. Hana kissed him with gentle sweetness. Minji kissed him with playful joy. And Taeyang realized that love, like his Helios fuel, couldn't be contained or controlled. It simply was. Months later, New Haven hosted a ceremony. Hundreds of species attended to see the human engineer formally bonded to his 3 alien partners. It was a blend of traditions from all their cultures. Velathi vows, Crixan rituals, human promises, all woven together into something new. As Taeyang stood with Yuna, Hana, and Minji, he looked out at the crowd. He saw Hyunwoo grinning and giving him a thumbs up, saw Nari wiping tears from her eyes, saw representatives from a dozen species who had once been strangers but were now friends. When I discovered Helios fuel, he said during his vows, I thought that would be my greatest achievement, but I was wrong. My greatest discovery was finding that love can bridge any distance, overcome any difference, and unite even the stars themselves. The galaxy had changed because one human refused to be overlooked, because 3 alien women chose to see him as more than his species or his invention, because sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply choosing to care. New Haven thrived. The Helios fuel network spread to every corner of known space, bringing prosperity and peace. Hana's medical research saved countless lives. Yuna trained a new generation of peacekeepers who believed in cooperation over conquest. Minji established diplomatic channels that prevented wars before they started. And Taeyang Park, the engineer who had fueled their starships, lived surrounded by love he'd never imagined possible. He'd left Earth as nobody. He'd become somebody who mattered. But more than that, he'd found home. Not a place, but people. 4 souls bound together, proving that in the vast darkness of space, the brightest fuel of all was the light humans carried in their hearts. The light of hope. The light of love. The light that said anything was possible when beings chose connection over division. The light that would guide the galaxy into a new age, one star at a time.